Can one circuit be enough to destroy the morale of a 7-time world champion? What if it also does so at the worst time for a team that was supposed to be reborn in 2025? The Las Vegas circuit represents a perfect storm for the SF-25 structural weaknesses. It is not an opinion, it is a shared conclusion within the technical team. The combination of long straights, light braking, frigid temperatures and low abrasive asphalt has been described internally as the worst possible scenario for this car. And the most alarming thing is that these factors are not new. They are the same ones that already exposed the car's Achilles heel in past editions, and that this season are presented in an amplified way due to the structural changes made to the SF-25. Vasseur has had to face not only media pressure, but also internal disillusionment. The year began with almost unrealistic expectations after the signing of Hamilton. There was talk of the final project, of Ferrari's definitive attempt to regain the top of Formula One. But what seemed like a glorious new chapter is turning into a story of contained frustration. The Frenchman knows that a bad result in Las Vegas could trigger a chain reaction. Loss of confidence in the development of the car, internal tensions in the Hamilton team, and most dangerous of all, the start of a public narrative that questions his management ability. It's not just the car's mechanics that worries Vasseur, it's the human factor. The signs of emotional exhaustion in Hamilton are evident. From his body language in briefings to his cryptic statements in the press. What for other drivers would be just one more track, for Hamilton could be the breaking point. And Vasseur knows it. For this reason, in the technical meetings prior to the Las Vegas GP, Vasseur has opted for an unusual strategy. Limit the public exposure of his star driver, redirect technical questions to the engineers, and concentrate all efforts on finding an emergency solution that allows the car to achieve at least stable performance in qualifying. Because if the car does not warm up the tires on the first attempt, if the ambient temperature falls below 10 degrees Celsius again as in 2024, and if the track does not offer grip, all of Ferrari's work in recent months could be reduced to ashes in a single night. What makes this scenario a nightmare is not the probability of failure, but the certainty that there is no room for maneuver. Ferrari can't change its base configuration, can't develop new parts in record time, and can't modify desert weather patterns. She is trapped in a race that will be held in conditions designed to punish exactly her type of car. Vasseur is, in many ways, at the mercy of circumstances. And the worst thing is that Lewis Hamilton also knows that. Throughout the 2025 season, one of the great unsolved enigmas for Ferrari has been the thermal behavior of the SF-25. At first glance, it might seem like just another problem on a list of common technical weaknesses in any team. But in Formula One, heat or lack thereof can be the fine line between a perfect lap and total humiliation. And in the case of Ferrari, that limit has already been crossed several times. The root of the problem lies in how the car handles the heat generated by the tires. Under ideal conditions, a car must have its tires at a precise temperature, known as the optimal operating window. This range, which is between 90 and 110 degrees Celsius in most compounds, is critical for generating grip, especially in qualifying where maximum grip is needed from the first corner. The SF-25, however, fails to consistently reach said window, and when it does, it rarely stays within it for more than a couple of turns. On circuits like Las Vegas, where the ambient temperature during night sessions can drop below 8 degrees Celsius, this defect becomes a condemnation. Tires lose temperature during long straight stretches and do not recover it when reaching braking zones or in low-speed corners. Low abrasive asphalt doesn't help either. The track is literally too smooth to generate enough friction, meaning that heat simply isn't transferred effectively from the asphalt to the tire. The technical team has attempted to mitigate this problem with multiple strategies. They have played with minimum pressures allowed by Pirelli, more aggressive suspension configurations have been tested to force a greater thermal transfer, they have even experimented with engine maps that heat up the axles more, but none of these solutions have had stable results. SF-25 is not only slow to warm up, but will destroy the tire if pushed too hard before reaching the desired temperature. And that's where the phenomenon of graining comes into play. Graining is the silent enemy that turns any good strategy into a nightmare. It occurs when the tire, while still cold, suffers small breaks in its surface, generating accumulations of rubber that drastically reduce grip. The car begins to slide, skid, and as a consequence, wear increases without gaining performance. SF-25 is particularly prone to this phenomenon on soft compounds, such as C4 and C5, which are precisely those selected for Las Vegas. This technical pattern places Ferrari in a strategic paradox. If they try to go out on the track with harder compounds such as C3, they run the risk of not generating enough temperature even in the race. But if they opt for the softs, they could have a decent qualifying lap and then lose all competitiveness in the opening laps of the Grand Prix due to severe graining. What in other teams is a choice of tires, in Ferrari is Russian roulette. And the most serious thing is that all this was not a problem in 2024. In that season, Ferrari took advantage of the cold conditions of Las Vegas with a car that heated the tires quickly. The SF-25 wasn't perfect, but its strengths matched what the circuit demanded. Paradoxically, the advances made this year to improve race pace and wear on hot tracks have eliminated precisely that advantage. Ferrari has evolved its car, yes, but it has done so by moving away from the type of circuit that previously favored it. Now, each lap in Las Vegas represents not only a technical challenge, but a kind of emotional test for the engineers who have been trying for months to control a thermal monster that resists conventional logic. And what is most disturbing within the box is that the team has no control over the external variables that define the result. Las Vegas is not a circuit where you can improvise a last-minute solution. It is a sentence written for those cars that fail in the most basic thing, putting temperature in their tires on the first lap. Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champion, is no stranger to suffering. He has experienced turbulent seasons, infighting, and tough defeats. But what Ferrari is experiencing in 2025 is a different type of adversity, one that is quieter, more subtle, and therefore more devastating. This is not a lack of pure speed, nor visible strategic errors. This is a deep, almost philosophical incompatibility between his driving style and the technical DNA of the SF-25. Since arriving at Maranello, Hamilton has faced a completely new environment. For the first time since 2013, he has had to rebuild relationships, relearn technical languages, and, above all, adapt his driving style to a car that was not designed with him in mind. In theory, it was expected that his talent would equal everything, that his experience would be enough to solve the challenges. But the reality has been much crueler. The car does not respond to your inputs. It does not convey confidence when entering the curve. Does not allow aggressive braking. In essence, he doesn't listen to it. One of the first worrying signs emerged in the qualifying rounds. Hamilton, famous for his ability to extract the maximum on the fastest lap, has shown strange behavior. Hesitation when attacking curbs, unnecessary corrections in areas where it used to be surgical, and laps aborted due to feelings that don't add up. Its style, based on building the line through front grip and progressive throttle management, clashes with an SF-25 that demands rear stability and a more conservative approach to weight transfer. The result is a driver fighting his own muscle memory, forced to unlearn everything that has made him successful for 2 decades. But the problem doesn't end there. At Ferrari, solutions do not arrive with the speed that Hamilton is used to receiving. At Mercedes, your environment was meticulously built around your needs. It had engineers who spoke its technical language, personalized adjustments in record time, and a structure that understood how to get the most out of it even in adverse conditions. In Maranello, each change goes through hierarchical layers, committee debates, and a historical burden that weighs on each decision. The question now hanging over the paddock is how much longer it will tolerate this disconnection. Because if Las Vegas ends up being a disaster like everything indicates it will be, the public narrative will begin to spin. And when that happens, even the most ambitious projects can crack from within. The Las Vegas Grand Prix is not just another event on the calendar. It has become, without anyone planning it, a turning point for multiple protagonists within Ferrari. For Vasseur, it represents the opportunity or the last warning to demonstrate that his technical and strategic vision can sustain a team that, although it has progressed since 2024, still lives under the shadow of its own contradictions. For Hamilton, it's an identity test. It is no longer about adapting to the car, but about redefining yourself as a driver in the midst of frustration, about rebuilding yourself emotionally and technically from scratch, with the pressure of knowing that the entire world is watching you for signs of decline. But Las Vegas also judges something deeper, the Ferrari model. His ability to build not only a fast car, but one that is versatile, resilient, and compatible with elite drivers. A car that does not fall apart when the weather drops 5 degrees, that does not go into thermal crisis every time the track is not favorable, and that can be a championship tool, not an emotional burden. If the SF-25 fails in Las Vegas, the damage will not only be technical or sporting. They will be symbolic. Because this is the first year of the Hamilton project, and each Grand Prix that reinforces the narrative of incompatibility between driver and machine undermines the immediate future of the team. The pressure will increase on the engineers, on Vasseur, on the strategists, and even on Lewis himself, whose legacy risks being linked to an experiment that did not work. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this.